Okay, so everyone, I wanted to do this PSA. I did a couple shorts on it. Doesn't seem like they're going very far. For all of those who live in Oregon and other states, but specifically Oregon, I want you to know this. At the end of the month, October 29th, apparently, Oregon ballot measure 114 will be appealed by the state. Now, I don't know all the logistics and all of that stuff. However, Oregon Live, the news article, and I'll link it down below, has said that they're going to hear arguments starting the 29th. So why am I bringing this up if they're just arguments? Well, there was a website, and I'm not going to say which website. Actually, you know what? I'll just say it. It's Sportsman's Warehouse. There is this message on there, and it basically says, buy your guns and mags now. Now, why would they be saying this? Yes, they could be trying to drum up business. However, when I went to a certain store, like I actually went in, the workers there told me that they have people on the inside, that this particular store's corporate knows a lot about the ins and outs, and they have been told that ballot measure 114 is going to go through at the end of this month. Why is there very little about it? I'm not hearing, gun activists. I'm not hearing all these other places talking about it. And I think it's because not a lot of people know about it. The biggest problem I have with Oregon Measure 114 is the permit system and the ban of magazines over 10 rounds. Charleston loophole, okay, whatever. But this permit system is going to become a problem, and I'll tell you why. And I think they knew this going in. The permit system says that you cannot purchase a firearm in Oregon State unless you have this permit. To acquire this permit, you must go through a specific training, and these permits are issued by OSP or something like that, an in-state agency. It's been almost 2 years now, and they still don't have the infrastructure or the manpower to produce these permits. This is a problem. They have known about Oregon Measure 114 since November of 2022. That's when it passed with 50.6 or 50.7%. And they haven't done anything about the infrastructure. So when they pass this, I bet they're going to start being like, oh, now we really need to do this. However, think about it. First off, we have to wait for it. We have to have the funding for it. And there's going to be such a backlog of people that how are they going to go through all of these? It's going to take 1 to 2 years, probably, at minimum. Now, when the Harney County judge, Ratio or whatever his name is, the Harney County judge was deciding whether or not to put a stay on Measure 114, he was told by those who championed the measure that he shouldn't hear arguments about how they don't have the infrastructure in place. And he agreed, but he found it unconstitutional anyway, which is good. But this tells us where their mind is at. Now, here's why I don't think they want the infrastructure in place before this goes in. Because think about it. Ballot Measure 114 goes into play. No one can buy a firearm without these permits. But these permits can't be gotten by anybody. And so it takes them a while to do this, and there's a backlog and all of that. What happens to the small businesses when people can't buy firearms? When they can't buy these magazines and stuff? Oh, sure, they can sell ammo. But a lot of their business is firearms. And so what happens to all these small businesses? Yeah, sure, Coastal and Sportsman's may, they'll probably do all right. But I think specifically this whole ballot measure 114 business is a way for them to destroy small businesses who, sell firearms. And this means small towns. Small towns who do that, and who do they not like? Small towns are mostly Republican. So I want you all to be very, we need to shout this from the rooftops. The 29th of October is coming soon. As of right now, this is the night of the 16th. So that means 13 days until this happens. I talked to someone at Sportsman's Warehouse, and they told me that if they decide to go through with the measure, they're going to be selling 30-round magazines for ARs for like $6. It's going to be super cheap. Here's another thing. We don't know a lot about what's going to happen. Are they going to decide to make 114 go that day? Are they going to give us a month? Are they going to even say that the permit to purchase needs to be implemented beforehand? Probably not. Because these people said, the safety of our state, depends on whether or not it can be, while it's being appealed, it needs to go into effect. Well, look at what's happened since. It hasn't been a big, flood of gun violence and all of that. Now, in the cities, that's a different story. And a lot of these people in the cities, they have some of the strictest gun laws. I mean, look at Chicago. And it has one of the highest gun crimes. Now, if you don't take in account of suicides, a lot of this is dependent on big cities. If we take out the big cities, like a lot of the statistics. Now, I may be flustered, but I just want everybody to know. We need to prepare. And if you don't have the magazines for your firearms that are greater than 10 rounds, go ahead and purchase them now. If there's a firearm that you really want, but you are waiting till the time is right, if you can get it now. The queue might ramp up in, leading up to this time, but I've been told by multiple different people that this is not just hearing arguments. This is the time where they are going to actually, they're going to implement 114. The stay is going to be lifted, so to speak. So tell everybody, tell your grandmother, tell your postman. And here's another thing. All of these stores, I went to other stores and asked them about it, and most of them didn't know about it. Most of them didn't know that there were arguments about this going on right now. Most of them were like, oh, I thought it was permanently enjoined by the Harney County judge. Nope. No, they're still appealing it. And the appeal process is now at the state. So we're dealing with state judges. And we all know Oregon state judges, they don't like firearms. They don't like rights. And here's another thing that I was talking to my buddies about. Even if we do get this going to the Supreme Court, it will take years. And then say it does go to the Supreme Court and we win. Well, look at what has happened in California and New York. They haven't rushed to, roll back their legislation. I mean, a lot of this is states just saying, nope, we decided that we're going to do this, and, what is the federal Supreme Court going to do about it? Sure, there can be a bunch of, lawsuits and all of that, but a lot of this is going to take large amounts of time. And we have been fortunate that ballot measure 114 has taken 2 years. We've had this 2 years to prepare. And this whole time we've been able to buy magazines over 10 rounds. We've been able to purchase firearms with just a background check, because a background check is required, regardless of what the leftists think. But we haven't needed a permit. I think they're getting ready to revoke this stay. And that means that and isn't it weird that right before the election, I mean like 6 to 7 days before the election of Trump and Harris, we're getting arguments of Measure 114. Something's going on. It can't be this perfect, right? So all I'm saying is get this information out. You don't have to send this video to everybody. Get this information out to everybody that you know, that October 29th, they are hearing arguments on the appeal process of the stay of Oregon Measure 114. The Harney County judge issued a stay and said that it is against the Constitution, and ballot measure 114 hasn't gone into effect at all, not one day. So right now, the status quo is there is no permit to purchase system, and you can own magazines well over 10 rounds. But that could change. That could change as soon as, who knows, even the 29th. We don't know. And for all of you who want this to go into effect, I don't know what to tell you. Honestly, I think those of you who wanted ballot measure 114 in, I think a lot of people didn't know what they were actually voting for, and you're very happy about that. If we did a revote on this ballot measure, I think it would overwhelmingly be killed. And I don't know if we can revote on that measure or not. I don't know how those things work. But if we could revote with more information, I think it would be very different. And I think they know that. It passed with 50.6 or 50.7%. I mean, that's less than 1%. That's crazy. So clearly, we need something needs to be done about this. Oregon State it's the last bastion of freedom on the West Coast. Washington up north, where I'm from, is a horror show. You can't, buy or sell an AR-15. California is even worse. And Oregon Measure 114 would be probably even worse than that. It's probably the worst, and that's probably why it's taken so long to do it, because there's so many points on this. And the thing that I have the biggest problem with is that it is written so poorly that a lot of the people who champion the bill or the measure don't even know what's going to happen, how this would transpire, or this or that. And so there'd be so many lawsuits we don't know. So anyways, this video is already 13 minutes long. I want you all to just tell everybody that you know that this is coming in 13 days as of now. We need to prepare and buy what we can. And also, if this goes into effect, support your local business. Make sure that they don't go under, because we can't let small businesses die. Anyways, God bless, and I'll talk to you next time.